I have to be at a meeting at 3:30.
Look, we got 10 minutes.
Well, you're on a movie. No one's
I mean, what are you doing to fix the problem with your parole system?
That's me, 9 News investigative reporter Chris Van Ray.
I know my team's been in constant communication with you.
And that is Andre Stansel, the head of the Colorado Department of Corrections.
Why doesn't your director say that?
Why he ended up in an elevator.
Jesus, his protection needs to go through, excuse me.
Why I ended up outside of it.
You can't block me from coming in.
I'm sorry, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room right there.
Isn't just a story of a government official trying to avoid an interview.
I apologize for
Well, guys, I'll meet you at the bottom, okay?
For 1 year, we investigated his parole system. 1 year in, even Stansel's department admits what we found represents a series of unacceptable failures. They're pledging reform.
My son is gone because somebody made a mistake.
Failures that preceded violent crimes.
Was that a serious scoring of your brother in that section?
None of this is serious. This is a joke.
Mistake after mistake after mistake.
It's not working. It's failing miserably.
An investigation into a system that left parolees free to reoffend with little to no supervision.
To be frank, Governor, why did it take a reporter from 9 News to figure out that you have a pretty large problem with how you're assessing your parolees?
A system broken.
You've helped shine a light on this to make sure it gets fixed.
One that continues to put all of us at risk.
Who's driving?
Upon arrest,
You have any idea where you are right now?
it's hard to have the courage of one's convictions
Have you slid on in here, man?
when so many of one's convictions involve felonies.
One more going to prison.
For what? You on parole right now?
Yeah.
Are you?
Surprised,
What are you on parole for?
DUI, actually.
Oh, okay.
August Romero was not. 7 priors prior to this one in 2022 left him in a perpetual state of deja vu.
Sam, down your knees.
Arrest, conviction, parole, new arrest.
January 22nd, 2024, I'm speaking with Mr. August Romero.
Last year, he told the parole board
I just gotta stay motivated and focused, you know.
the cycle was over. He was ready to change. Upon release, a parole officer seemed to agree. Low risk to reoffend, he concluded in this assessment. And then, 8 days later,
What started out as a hit and run is now a homicide investigation.
the low-risk offender, according to Westminster Police, intentionally ran over a man named Robbie Valenzuela.
I'm angry. But I know he wouldn't want me to be angry. But his life was taken way too soon by someone that didn't deserve to be out here in society.
Yvette Valenzuela
He's a lovable guy.
and Robbie's best friend Vince Rodriguez knew the man accused was on parole, but they did not know until we showed them what we found in an open records request.
2022, 7 points.
That low-risk score wasn't just inaccurate, it was also the byproduct.
I don't understand how a person goes from such high points to low points.
The byproduct of at least 13 individual mistakes. Mistakes that turned a consistently high-risk offender into a low-risk parolee.
I have lots of anger. I absolutely do. I have a lot of anger. It's difficult to wake up every day and I know that he's no longer here because he had so much more to go.
When it comes to risk, it's up to Colorado parole officers to keep score. Each one of the 8,000 plus on parole here gets one. This score dictates one of 3 risk levels, low, medium, or high.
You got a parole warrant that came out after our warrant.
For 1 year, whenever a parolee got into trouble, 9 News Investigates asked for and received copies
You know you have a warrant, right? Yeah. You know what it's for? Running for parole?
copies of the risk assessments used to determine their scores.
What's your name, man?
Vincenzo.
We examined more than 3 dozen case files of parolees accused of high-profile, often violent crimes. Within thousands of questions, we found hundreds of errors. Errors we now know led to inadequate levels of supervision.
Having an assessment that's inaccurate is maybe more dangerous than not doing an assessment at all.
Brian Lovins helped create the very assessments Colorado uses to help the state's Department of Corrections determine the risk levels of its parolees. Simply put, The assessments rely on a series of simple questions. Questions like how many prior adult felony convictions, what's your highest level of education, any past drug use or gang membership.
It's an assessment that helps us identify who needs more services and where those services could land to be most effective.
Questions lead to points. The points add up to the score. The higher the risk. Lovins likens the assessments to a doctor's diagnosis. You don't want to get them wrong.
It sets up every other interaction and intervention within our system. And so if we get the wrong assessment, we're doing the wrong surgery.
These are the two assessments.
And the sheer volume of mistakes we found left some state legislators wondering if we weren't just talking about one bad surgery.
This puts our entire state at risk.
But the correctional equivalent.
Does that make sense?
No.
Medical malpractice.
This is a problem, is it not?
This looks like a problem. This looks like a really scary problem.
In weather fit for no one, a man dressed in short sleeves found himself a long way away from home and reality.
They're hiding a little girl in there. All right. He's raping her in there, man.
Parole, it appeared, was not going well.
All right, man.
For a man named Vincenzo Muscosa.
You on something right now?
Yeah, I smoked some.
This arrest in 2022 was followed by another.
You have the right to remain silent.
A few months later, suspected DUI. Aware of both, his parole officer concluded Muscosa's risk to reoffend was only moderate. In 2023, the moderate risk parolee, according to Denver police, boarded a bus and took out a knife.
Just so random. You get on a bus one day and you don't get off of it. I don't want to remember that happened. I don't want to remember to know that he just got on a bus.
Esmeralda Sanchez's brother Fidel sat in the back of that bus, sleeping. He had no warning of the knife about to pierce his throat.
And that's the harder part of it. That he couldn't react to that, and he couldn't respond to that.
Hours later, Denver police say Muscosa did it again to a woman walking for exercise. She was 83.
It could have been prevented. Because he didn't need to be out. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, is what it is.
Our investigation found Muscosa's moderate risk score was flat out wrong and based on multiple mistakes. Mistakes like this one. Section 5.5. Has drug use caused problems with employment? No, concluded his parole officer. 0 points. The notes in the very same assessment prove otherwise.
He disclosed periods of unemployment due to substance abuse.
It's clear as day.
Doesn't match.
It doesn't match. There's a problem. There's a huge problem.
That discrepancy is pretty blatant user error.
University of Nebraska professor of criminology Zachary Hamilton helped states across the U.S. assess the state of their assessment scores. We showed him more examples of what we found.
That is user error, for sure.
Elijah Cottle's assessment suggested his housing was stable in Section 3.5. Not true. He was living outside, homeless for months. He's now accused of stabbing 4, killing 2. Corey Allen, now a convicted murderer, Section 5.5, the drug use and employment question. Answer, no. Also not true according to the notes.
Allen is regularly using cocaine but still working full-time.
Yeah, that does seem like a pretty blatant contradiction.
Then there are the scores that should not change over time, so-called static scores. Now convicted murderer Tallulah Davis. In 2022, his parole assessment correctly said he'd had prior felony convictions and incarcerations, 2 points. 2 years later, 0 points. A score that simply ignored reality.
What does this tell you?
It tells me that the individual that's completing it in 2024 probably wasn't going through their criminal record in detail.
Scores matter because they help determine the amount of supervision. Colorado DOC policy states as much. For example, low-risk parolees should meet with a parole officer once every 6 months or 2 times a year. High risk, once a month or 12 times a year. Low risk, maybe 1 drug test a year. High risk, up to 24.
And it's the idea of if you're high risk, you should get more intervention. If you're low risk, you should get less intervention.
We certainly need to correct this.
When we showed the mistakes we found to state legislators,
First show you August Romero.
they were appalled.
And to me, it's quite disturbing that journalists can identify a pattern and our state government cannot.
If a reporter from 9 News can catch that, ideally somebody from DOC could catch that.
I would be expecting that someone from DOC would be catching these.
Have we identified a problem?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question that a problem is identified here.
I know my team has been in constant communications with you.
It is that problem that eventually brought us to the 3rd floor of the Colorado Legislative Services Building, where I and photojournalist Chris Hansen finally found this man, Andre Stancil, the head of the Colorado Department of Corrections. He'd spent months avoiding me.
Why doesn't your director say that?
Because my team is telling me.
For several minutes, his staff did their best to help their boss avoid me and my questions for a little bit longer.
I'm sorry, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room right there.
I am at the edge of the door. I apologize.
No, you're not.
I apologize.
18 days after he murdered a man he didn't know in Colorado, James Neal led police in Wyoming on a wild chase. Inside his car, according to the arrest report, meth, marijuana, and 7 guns.
That's yours if you want.
During a 2-hour interview, Neal talked about voices in his head and the meth he used often to deal with them.
Opens up kind of a more steady connection to being able to talk to them.
The man he murdered in Colorado.
Who was Mike?
My older brother.
Was one of Marilyn Lohmeyer Howland's best friends.
Kind, funny, king of one-liners. You know, he just popped to his head all the time.
Mike Lohmeyer sat in his car when Neal approached and shot him. Neal was on parole at the time.
Do you think the parole system failed here?
I feel it did. I feel like Mike would be alive if this guy hadn't been on parole.
Neal's most recent risk assessment suggested he was moderate risk to reoffend. It contained at least one mistake, Section 1.3, prior incarceration. His parole officer marked no, 0 points. Not true. Neal received a 2-year prison sentence in 2019 on a felony menacing charge.
My brother didn't deserve this. And anybody else out there that this happens to, they don't deserve it either.
Then there is the case.
Who is Jason Ray?
That would be my brother.
The case of Jessica Wilkerson's brother.
How much time do you think he spent in prison?
A good close to probably almost 30 years.
Earlier this year, while on parole, police in Lakewood say Jason Ray pointed a gun at them.
How'd you find out he got shot?
I was watching the news, and I said, man, I just hope that isn't your Uncle Jay.
Ray survived. I showed Wilkerson her brother's assessment scores.
Wow. 0 points?
Section 7, criminal attitudes and behaviors. Somehow his parole officer scored Ray, a man with more than 60 priors, nothing but zeros.
7-6? Really? Walks away from a fight.
Is that your brother?
I've never seen him walk away from a fight.
Was that a serious scoring of your brother in that section?
No. None of this is serious. This is a joke.
Colorado is not following best practices in many areas.
Melissa Hamilton is a nationally known expert in the field of risk assessments.
What I'm seeing, though, is a problem from the very beginning of Colorado's use of this system.
While she cannot say why the errors are occurring, she can say it's clear Colorado has no system to find these errors.
The system seems to have violated some of our basic principles of how to effectively and ethically use risk assessment tools.
In need of answers, we first asked the Colorado Department of Corrections for an interview on March 18th, 2025. We asked again on March 24th. That was denied the next day. April 3rd, another request, ignored. May 7th, another request, ignored again. May 20th, I wrote, can we expect a response? June 2nd, we're not interested.
Hey, director. Hey, how are you?
And that's why in November 2025, we came here, the Legislative Services Building, for a very rare public appearance for the head of Colorado's DOC, Andre Stancil.
Hey, Director Stansel, Chris Vanderveen with 9 News. How are you?
Good, man.
Can we ask you a couple questions?
Nah, not right now. Let me take care of this and maybe later.
Made sense since he was here to talk to legislators about his budget.
Is there a time we can ask you some questions?
Can I finish this, man? This is kind
Yeah,
of
how long will
my
that?
focus right now.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to take.
Well, we'll get you afterwards, okay?
And so we waited. And so when the 2-hour meeting ended, we approached again. This time, the head of prisons, 2 people on the communications team, the deputy director of operations, and the deputy director of community operations did something I honestly had never seen before.
Director, I would like to ask you a couple questions.
We can get you a statement if you like.
No, I'm kind of over statements. I've kind of. Is this a scrum or what's going on here?
Thank you so much.
They formed a wall
I have to be at a meeting at 3:30.
around their boss.
Well, y'all aren't moving. No one's moving.
And for several minutes, they did everything they could.
Don't push me, please.
Everything they could to prevent me from doing what journalists do.
I mean, we've kind of been waiting for you guys to go on camera for like 6 or 7 months.
Eventually, he hit the elevator.
We're accelerating the CTAP process as we
Well, why doesn't your director say that?
Because my team is telling me.
So did photojournalist Chris Hansen.
protection needs to go through. Excuse me.
You can't block me from coming in.
The head of prisons blocked my way.
I'm sorry, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room right there.
An awkward 3-story descent ensued. At the bottom, I got back to my questions.
I would appreciate it if you didn't stand in my way.
Eventually, I did get in a question that netted a response.
Do families deserve a better explanation than this?
Absolutely.
What is the explanation then?
I am not in a position to give you that actually. That's why I team member.
You're the director of the Department of Corrections.
You're right.
So why can't you be in a position to answer that question?
Because it's a very complex issue. And it's an issue that takes multiple people to explain. That's why you met with the team.
And that response led to this.
You're inaccurately scoring your parole assessments. Isn't that a simple problem?
One thing I want to say, I really appreciate you bringing the things to the attention that you have. Because you're actually right. There are some things that we're doing better. And we are working on doing
great.
better.
So what are you going to do to fix it?
Well, as we stated, Chris, we're already working on that acceleration of the risk assessments.
Less than an hour later, we received this statement. CDOC acknowledges the findings raised by 9 News. We take these findings seriously.
They need to pay attention. They're not paying attention.
How seriously is a question many families say they need to know now.
My son is gone because somebody made a mistake. Yes, somebody killed him, but he shouldn't have gotten out. He was a high-risk human being that shouldn't have gotten out.
The cries for help came from this light rail station in Inglewood in 2022. Police responded. A man ran from the scene.
This is a picture of Meg, senior high school picture.
Jenny only wants us to use her first name, mostly because of what happened to a woman named Meg.
There was no doubt in my mind she had been brutally, physically attacked.
Jenny saw Meg, her estranged daughter, for the first time in years in a hospital with no more than a machine keeping her alive.
It was probably the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And to see her in the condition she was in still breaks my heart.
Meg died not much later. Inglewood police targeted a parolee for the apparent crime, Ricky Lee Roybal Smith, even went as far as to tell his parole officer, "I will absolutely let you know when I file the case on Ricky."
So they're treating it like a homicide.
They're treating it like a murder, yeah.
But the case stalled. An inconclusive autopsy didn't help. Roybal Smith went back to prison on an unrelated case. The Inglewood case, Meg's death, remained open, active even today, we're told. But somehow, it never came up.
And I'm speaking with Ricky Roybal Smith.
Never came up when Roybal Smith came up for parole for the 5th time in 15 years.
Because like I said, I'm done. This is different. It's definitely different this time.
In 2025, the parole board released him again, thanks in no small part to this assessment that found him moderate risk to reoffend, a conclusion that strayed significantly from the assessments done in 2017, 18, 19, and 21. 5 months into this latest stint on parole, investigators in Aurora and Denver say Roybal Smith attacked and killed 3 over the course of 26 hours.
was so sweet. He was so sweet.
One of the three was Michelle Schaefer's son, Jesse.
He had the most beautiful blue eyes. Like his papa, and his daddy died when he was 12.
9 News Investigates found the 2024 assessment used by the state before it let Roybal Smith out was littered with errors. We found his score was too low by at least 7 points. He should have been high risk, not moderate.
It needs to be fixed. There's too many families like mine that this is happening to.
Records reviewed by 9 News Investigates show Roybal Smith faced no drug screens, no face-to-face meetings with his parole officer for at least 2 months before the trio of homicides.
Why? Why? Can we ask why? Can we start to investigate? Can we fix this system?
A good question. At the beginning of this investigation in early 2025, DOC assured us it had quality assurance practices to ensure assessments are completed correctly. Basically, trust us, we're doing it right. Our investigation went on to find the opposite. In late 2025, DOC finally did its own internal review, 45 parolee assessments studied. The review, done as a response to our reporting, found errors on all but one, a 98% failure rate. We are re-engineering the entire assessment process, DOC told us. Your investigation identified a critical issue.